Welcome to the Executive and the Republic, where we uncover the lives of America's early presidents and how they shaped the nation we live in today. Today, we dive into the life and presidency of Andrew Jackson, a man loved by some, feared by others, but undeniably influential. His presidency left a lasting mark on American democracy, and, well, controversy was his middle name. Let's dig in. Andrew Jackson wasn't born into wealth or power. Quite the opposite, in fact. He was born in 1767 in the backcountry of the Carolinas, growing up on the tough American frontier. His father died before he was born, and by the age of 14, Jackson was an orphan. It was a hard life that shaped him into the tough, relentless leader he would become, someone who thrived on fighting against the odds. But before he entered politics, Jackson made a name for himself as a war hero. His defining moment came during the War of 1812, when he led American forces to a resounding victory over the British at the Battle of New Orleans. That victory turned him into a national hero. His nickname, Old Hickory, came from his soldiers, who saw him as tough as the hickory tree, unyielding and strong. Fast forward to 1828, and Jackson decided to run for president. He branded himself as the voice of the common man, a man who would challenge the powerful elite and give more power to ordinary Americans. His victory in the election wasn't just about winning a political office. It was the beginning of a new era in American politics. Jackson's presidency, which began in 1829, was full of action, drama, and change. One of his first major acts was probably the most controversial of his entire career: the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Jackson was determined to expand American territory, and he saw Native American tribes as obstacles to that goal. The Indian Removal Act led to the forced relocation of thousands of Native Americans from their lands in the southeastern United States to territory west of the Mississippi River. This event is now remembered as the Trail of Tears, a devastating chapter in American history. Thousands of Native Americans died during the brutal journey, suffering from disease, starvation, and exposure to harsh weather. While Jackson believed this policy was necessary for American expansion, it has left a dark and painful legacy that overshadows much of his presidency. But the controversies didn't stop there. Jackson also took on the nation's powerful financial institution, the Second Bank of the United States. To Jackson, the bank represented everything he despised about the elite: too much power concentrated in the hands of a few wealthy bankers. He believed the bank was corrupt and a threat to American democracy. In a bold move, Jackson vetoed the bill to renew the bank's charter, and in an even more drastic step, he withdrew federal funds from the bank and placed them in smaller state banks. This move, known as the Bank War, divided the nation. Jackson's supporters cheered him on for standing up to big money, while his critics warned that it would destabilize the economy. And they weren't entirely wrong. The nation soon entered a financial crisis known as the Panic of 1837, shortly after Jackson left office. But it wasn't all battles and crises during Jackson's presidency. He also championed the idea of giving more political power to ordinary people, what became known as Jacksonian democracy. For the first time, white men without property were granted the right to vote in many states, dramatically expanding the electorate. To Jackson, democracy meant more than just government by the elite. It meant giving a voice to the broader population, even if it was still limited to white males at the time. Jackson believed in a strong executive branch, and during his 2 terms he used his presidential veto power more than any of his predecessors combined. He saw the presidency as a position of strength, and he wasn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with Congress or the Supreme Court when he thought they were wrong. In fact, he famously once said, "The Supreme Court has made its decision. Now let them enforce it," when they ruled against him on Native American issues. By the time Jackson left office in 1837, He had fundamentally reshaped the role of the presidency. He left behind a deeply divided nation. Some saw him as a hero who stood up for the common man, while others viewed him as a tyrant who abused his power. But one thing is for sure: Andrew Jackson's presidency set the tone for future leaders. He transformed the way the executive office operated, and his impact can still be felt in American politics today. But Jackson's legacy is complicated. His push for democracy expanded the vote, but his policies, especially toward Native Americans, have left a painful mark on American history. Jackson remains one of the most polarizing figures in U.S. history, both a champion and a villain, depending on which part of his legacy you look at. So, was Andrew Jackson a hero or a villain? Like many figures in history, the answer is complicated. His presidency is a reminder that leadership can be messy, full of contradictions, and have far-reaching consequences, both good and bad. Thanks for watching this episode of The Executive and the Republic. If you enjoyed learning about Andrew Jackson and want to hear more stories about America's early presidents, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button. And make sure to ring the bell so you never miss an episode. We've got plenty more fascinating stories from history coming your way. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.